Join us on Patreon and become part of our journey to uncover history's untold stories. Your support helps us create in-depth content, bring hidden narratives to life, and keep history alive for everyone. Long before Western scholars debated the identity of the devil, and even before modern Christianity had crystallized its demonology, a different voice from the highlands of East Africa carried a powerful and ancient perspective, one often ignored, overlooked, or suppressed in modern theological discourse. Ethiopia, a land whose religious roots stretch far beyond the time of Constantine, preserves some of the oldest and most unaltered Judeo-Christian scriptures known to mankind. Among its sacred texts lies a chilling and revelatory narrative about a figure rarely explored in depth by contemporary Christianity, Azazel. To the casual Bible reader, the name Azazel may ring faintly from a cryptic passage in Leviticus. But in Ethiopia's canonical texts, most notably the Book of Enoch and Jubilees, both still revered as sacred within the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, Azazel is painted in bold, terrifying strokes. He is not merely a symbol or myth. He is a cosmic antagonist, a fallen watcher, a bringer of sin, a corrupter of mankind. And in Ethiopia's forgotten scriptures, he is unmistakably aligned with the role many later came to associate with the devil himself. The story of Azazel begins long before the days of Moses, in the antediluvian age when angels, or watchers, descended from heaven and mingled with the daughters of men. These angels, known as the Gregori in the Book of Enoch, defied the Most High and swore an unholy oath atop Mount Hermon. While their leader, Samjaza, initiated the rebellion, it was Azazel who took the corruption a step further. He didn't merely lust after human women. He taught humanity the secrets of forbidden arts. He introduced warlike technology, the forging of swords, knives, and shields. He revealed the use of cosmetics, seduction, and sorcery. According to Enoch, it was Azazel who taught men how to wage war and women how to deceive with beauty, effectively setting the stage for the violent, lust-driven civilization that provoked the Great Flood. Ethiopian scripture does not treat this story as allegory. In fact, within the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, the Book of Enoch is considered a vital revelation that illuminates the cosmic battle between good and evil. Unlike most Christian traditions that either removed or never included Enoch in their biblical canon, Ethiopia preserved it intact in Guizi, its sacred liturgical language. From this lens, Azazel's role is far from secondary. He becomes the very embodiment of rebellion against divine order. In chapter 10 of Enoch, the archangel Raphael is commanded by God to bind Azazel and cast him into a pit in the desert, covering him with rough and jagged stones. The place of his imprisonment is called Dudiel, word that echoes mysteriously with ancient Semitic tones. He is to remain there until the day of judgment when he will be hurled into the fire, a punishment that mirrors later Christian descriptions of hell and Satan's fate. But what makes this portrayal so unique is how consistent it is with other ancient Ethiopian texts that Western Christianity either lost or dismissed. The Book of Jubilees, which is also part of the Ethiopian canon, offers further detail. It claims that after the flood, Azazel's influence did not vanish. His name was invoked during rituals, and his spirits, the evil disembodied entities known as Shedim, or demons, continued to plague humanity. Jubilees states that Azazel is the one responsible for all sin on earth, a claim that places him in a central cosmic role as the originator of evil. These are not metaphorical sins. Azazel is directly linked to violence, idolatry, witchcraft, vanity, pride, and murder. This tradition even colors how the Israelites dealt with sin during Yom Kippur. In Leviticus 16, we find the strange ritual of the scapegoat. 2 goats are chosen, one is sacrificed to the Lord, while the other is sent into the wilderness to Azazel. While later rabbis and Christian theologians interpreted Azazel in various metaphorical ways, some claiming it meant a rocky cliff, others saying it was a symbolic representation of sin, the Ethiopian perspective remained more literal. Azazel was a real fallen being, a dark presence dwelling in the wilderness, waiting for the sins of the people to be cast upon him. This echoes the tradition of exiling impurity into the desert, a realm long believed to be inhabited by malevolent spirits and demons.
From the Ethiopian vantage point, the devil is not simply a later invention of Christian theology centered around a being called Satan. Instead, there is a far older understanding, wherein Azazel is the archetype of demonic rebellion and sin itself. While Satan, the accuser in the Book of Job, is more a prosecuting force within God's court, Azazel is the defiler, the corrupter from outside the divine system. He is an enemy of humanity and of creation, not simply a tempter, but an origin point for destruction. This view gains even more weight when we consider how deeply embedded Enochian and Jubilean traditions are within Ethiopian religious life. Monasteries in the Ethiopian highlands have preserved these texts for over a millennium, and ancient illuminated manuscripts dating back to the early centuries AD still depict Azazel with ominous black wings, chains around his feet, and a face of fire. The Ethiopian Church never participated in the ecumenical councils of Rome, Nicaea, or Chalcedon that shaped the rest of Christendom. Their scriptures and traditions evolved independently, preserving a more ancient form of biblical literature. The implications of Ethiopia's theology are staggering. If Azazel is indeed the original devil, then the narrative of evil predates the Satan of later Christian imagination. It means the true battle between good and evil started not in a garden with a talking serpent, but in the celestial betrayal of the Watchers and the cosmic descent of Azazel. It means sin was not simply a matter of disobedience, but a divine knowledge misused, stolen fire wielded with malice and chaos. Moreover, Azazel's imprisonment, unlike Satan's freedom to roam, points to a more apocalyptic vision. In Enoch, Azazel awaits his final judgment. His release and destruction will signal the end of days. This has parallels with Revelation, where the devil is bound for 1,000 years before being released for a final battle. Whether Azazel and Satan are ultimately the same being under different names is a matter of theological interpretation. But what is undeniable is that Ethiopia's sacred scriptures do not hesitate to attribute to Azazel the very nature of the devil: pride, rebellion, corruption, and ultimate doom. In a world where much of ancient African spiritual history has been marginalized or appropriated, the Ethiopian testimony stands as a fierce and unyielding witness to an older truth. It is a truth that challenges modern Christianity's neatly packaged ideas of good and evil. It is a truth that speaks from the mouth of ancient priests, from the rugged stone churches of Lalibela, from parchment scrolls written in fading Duizi. It tells us that the war in heaven did not start with Lucifer, but with Azazel. And in Ethiopia's forgotten scriptures, he is not just a scapegoat. He is the devil himself.